Let's talk packages. The R core language is very simple compared to what the entire R ecosystem is and can do. It provides for the basic functionality of a programming language, but most functionality in R is developed using packages, which are, let's call them units of reproducible R code that include functions and documentation and even data to help us do a certain thing in R. It's basically a single source of truth that's developed by R package developers, which are usually statisticians. R packages are developed in the open as open source, so everyone can see them, everyone can check the code inside them, so the errors and the mistakes can be quickly observed and fixed. Therefore, these packages are, let's call them living entities, because they are updated like any other software, like your apps on your phones or any other piece of software that you know. They're updated with improvements, fixes, and so forth. But this video is about how we install and load packages in R and how we use them. So I'm going to do just a brief overview of the R Studio interface. So if you go into the RStudio and click on the Packages tab, you'll be presented with a list of packages that you have installed on your system. In my case, it's a long list because I have a lot of packages installed. You may have fewer than this. In this list, if you look and you see a check mark by one of the packages, it means that the respective package is loaded in the environment, and it's going to give you a name and a version and all that. To install a new package, we just do install, and this is the repository, the main repository. CRN is the main repository for our packages. We're going to look for the table1 package. It is installed on my system, but it doesn't matter, we can reinstall it. And then make sure that install dependencies is checked. Some of the packages work on their own. Some others may require other packages to be present. So this takes care of installing any other packages that you may need to run it. Just hit install, and you would see in the console that RStudio runs a command or a function to install the package. This is the exact function that we would use to install the table1 package if we would do it from the console. So at the console, we just type in install.packages and in quotes table1 and just run it. It's just gonna do exactly what it did before. It's gonna install the code and the help. So the binary and the help like HTML. The help is going to be visible here in the help tab. We'll get to that in a bit. So basically, once this is done and you get back to the command prompt, if you look in the list, the package table1 should be present. So the package is here. And to use it, we just just for fun, this is how we use the R notebooks. We comment what we're going to do, and we enter a chunk of R code, and we load the package. We load the package using the command library, and the name of the package, table, and the autocomplete gives us options. So we're on table1, and if we hit Control Enter, it's going to be loaded, and if you look into the console, RStudio runs the library command to load the package. From the table1 package, we will use a function called create cat table, create category table for certain variables, categorical variables in the practice data set that we have here. So let's start by writing the function. So create cat table. Autocomplete gives us the option to select it, and it gives us the format of the function with the parameters and all, and a bit of an explanation. This comes from help. If you press F1 at this point, you can have a look at additional help. Basically, it opens up the help tab and shows the function. So table, we need to tell it what variables we want this to run for. So vars, if you look at the help, vars is one of the parameters, equals, and we give this as a vector, as in C, and we look at what variables. Right now we don't know, it's year and gender, I think. We'll see. And gender, and the data would be practice, right? We are creating a data frame practice here, and we read into it the data from the practice CSV, and we convert strings to factors automatically when we do the read. So if we run this command, oops, we get an error because and it tells us that the practice object is not found. And true is not found because I cleaned the environment right before, so whatever commands were run before are not, the data that was produced is not available. So we go and run the chunk to make sure that we have the data frame, the practice data frame available. So it read it, and you have practice, and right, we have gender and year as factors. The head command here will show us a little table with the first 6 rows of the data and how it looks like. And we're going back to our table, and we just run it again. And if we run it, underneath it will show us a little table with the frequencies and percentage for each of the levels of the 2 categorical or variables that we have in the data set. And ordinal, year is ordinal, right. You can see that basically for gender, only one of the levels is presented, are things that we know a little bit of math, or are basically the basic arithmetic. It gives us the number and the number of observations, and it tells us that there are 5 in M, and then for the other level we have to do the math and find the difference. If we want to see everything, we do things a little bit differently. We assign the results from the create category table function to a variable, and we run this to make sure that C is present, and we look in the environment and C is here, and it has a bunch of stuff in there. And then now, because we assigned it, it's not printed anymore, so we have to print, and we have to tell it to show us all levels. So show all levels, and we set this to true, and when we run this function we get everything, right? You can see that both females and males are included in the output. Back to the packages tab. As I said earlier, libraries or packages in R receive frequent updates. RStudio provides with an option to update the libraries or packages that you need. So if you click on the update button on the packages tab, it's gonna pop up a list of all the packages that can be updated, and if you select them all and say install, everything will be installed. I'm not going to run it right now because it may take a very long time considering how many packages are here, but it would be good if once in a while you would look to see if there are updates to the packages and install those updates on your system, just to keep up with changes, fixes, and all that. Help is available, as you saw when you write it. Use F1 if it's offered to you, or you can just go into the help tab and we can search for table 1 package, and it's going to tell you what that is, and it's going to give you links, or you can go and search for a specific function, like in this case, create table 1, create category table, right? Create cat table, and the help is available.